Are you going to rip out everything?
Yes, but we're going to use AI to help us sort of visualize these improvements.
What a difference already.
Easy.
Design Clinic is here to solve your design dilemmas. And today, interior designer Christian Bense is going to breathe life into your dead spaces.
I think every interior or every home presents itself with some or other type of dead space. And today we're going to get rid of the awkward.
Design out the awkward.
That's it.
Our first problem is a guest bedroom. Let's have a look.
So this is our spare room. We are hoping to get a desk and a bed in here somehow.
Oh,
That is tight space.
I'm feeling awkward. Oh, babe.
There we go. Awkward indeed.
It's not helped by the colour, but you're going to deal with layout and making it comfortable and convenient.
Yeah, and I definitely see what they mean about the dead space underneath the sloped ceiling.
The whole room makes me feel very uncomfortable. I don't know where to put myself. I don't know where to sit down comfortably.
But the room doesn't solve for its worst bits. A sloping ceiling is, I would say, the charm of a English home, especially if you've done a sort of loft extension. So not really an uncommon feature. One of the things to think carefully about is obviously the reduced head height and how to make the most of that in a space, so you don't just end up with a sort of section of the room that has a lower ceiling and you can do nothing with it.
So what are we going to do?
First thing to do is highlight the awkwardness so you can design it out the room. At the moment, I'd say the worst bits of this room are obviously the sloped ceiling, but also the joinery, which is just not helping.
And usually joinery is aspirational, right?
Exactly. Built-in
Get some
joinery.
bespoke joinery,
Yeah.
they say.
As much as built-in joinery can be a lifesaver in some scenarios, it's just creating a really awkward little zone underneath the sloped ceiling.
Are you going to rip out everything? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, but we're going to use AI to get rid of it all. So we're going to start with a blank slate. There you go. Got rid of the green too, for good measure.
What a difference already.
Easy. Now we can figure out what goes where and how to better rationalize the space. Taking advantage of the lowest portion of the room, my feeling is that's where the desk goes. Draw bank on the left, and then you run the desk into the highest portion of the ceiling so that you're not worrying about hitting your head. You can tell why we're doing AI to do this. Better drawer than I am. But it sort of gives you a really lovely rectangular room that you can then now furnish.
One thing that worries me is cost always. Could you possibly IKEA this?
Absolutely, you definitely can. Obviously, when it comes to awkward shaped rooms, I would say if there's some way you're going to spend money to solve the problem the best way, sometimes going the bespoke route is the best solution. I think this is where customization will come in handy. It's sort of case of picking your battles. Designing a custom desk is probably easier than getting a custom sofa made.
What were you going to do about the sofa?
So we need to make sure that there's sufficient thoroughfare and walking area for when you fold out a bed. I would say that underneath the window is probably the best space. The bed then folds into the biggest portion of the space. Obviously we need to take into account things like opening the drawers and then the corner of the room. So I'd sort of leave the sofa bed sort of away from those ever so slightly. On the left-hand side, I'd then do a little side table to designate the two spaces. Here we go.
Yeah. It feels like you've somehow created a nicely proportioned square room out of what we had before.
That's definitely intention. It's sort of finding what the awkward bits of the room are, designing them out. In this case, it was designing out the sort of sloped ceiling area.
Yeah, I know we're talking dead space, but I find that window so off-putting. What are you going to do about that?
Yeah, there's no hiding the fact that window is off center. So I would add a little Roman blind in there, which just sort of helps elongate the room slightly. Probably add in a wall light on that side.
Oh, that's nice. That balances the wall space beautifully.
Exactly.
Could do with a little more zhuzh, a little more decor.
It could. We'll jazz it up. To add in a rug. I think every room needs a rug. Chuck in some pot plants and bits and bobs.
Is that art?
That's art.
Excellent, excellent. I've gone back to the first picture. I just feel very awkward and uncomfortable in here. It's cold, it's unkempt. Then, ta-da.
Ta-da. What do you think?
I'm much more comfortable, thank you so much.
There you go. This is a room that functions both as a study and as a guest bedroom, and that no longer feels awkward.
I love that it's all warm and welcoming instead of giving me the ick.
I think the previous design felt like nothing was quite in its right place, and therefore everything as a collection felt a little bit awkward. So this just pushes things into their correct home.
You've designed out the awkward.
There you go, that's a plan.
So we just moved into this house and there's an odd little room right at the top that we'd like to turn it into a bathroom, but it's such an awkward space. Is that even possible?
Slightly Harry Potter-esque, that.
There's plenty of light.
Lots of light, so it does work well for a bathroom. I probably would call it a shower room rather than a bathroom. I don't think we can get a bath in here.
Not even one of those little half hip
Why
baths.
bother?
Because they're cute.
Rather make a good shower.
Okay.
Good shower and then make the room functional. So yes, in short, yes.
Yes, we can.
How we do it? Let's figure that out. We work a lot on period homes, and I think one of the beauties of period properties is obviously more traditional style bathroom fixtures and sanitary ware. An exposed shower I always find just quite pretty and quite nice. If you are cost sensitive, these are a lot easier to install because you're basically just getting water and pipework to one point. We need to figure out where things are going to go. Instinctively, given the location of the skylight, I would say that we really only have that little area to try and get the shower to fit in. It means you're able to stand in the highest section of the room, and so that becomes a really lovely, cute little shower in the corner, radiator or towel rail on that wall, and then along this taller section of the wall, one awkward drawing of a toilet there, and then your basin on that wall. At least then you're occupying the tallest part of the room for your day-to-day activities, and everything sort of at the lowest portion of the room is for secondary activities, maybe utilizing this area as overflow storage. So jumping into the render, we've done a metro tile here.
I was going to ask you about
Classic
the metro
metro
tiles.
tile, can't go wrong.
So the death of the metro tile has been exaggerated.
Absolutely. I don't think the metro tile will ever die. My one takeaway from today, no dark grout on white metro tiles, especially one in an awkward space, unless the good Lord himself has tiled your walls. Do not use black grout. As you can see in this picture here, all it does is it highlights the problem. You can just see like all the little awkwardness, the awkward shape of the room, the fact that the walls aren't straight.
This is your pet hate, isn't it?
Like I've written blogs about this. Please use white grout.
Noted.
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 Great. We put a plantation shutter in the window, which is a great way to just make sure that window doesn't ever touch water. There's always a debate about a wet room. It's when you have that sort of like flat surface, that's when water runs in, and that's I think where wet rooms get the bad rap.
So you need to build up so that you can...
Build up something. So if you're able to prevent the water runoff by way of a little step like this, and then that forms your shower enclosure.
Top tip. On the floor here, tiny hexagonal tiles. Now tell me more, because the bigger the floor tiles, the bigger the room looks. Is that not true?
I don't think I'd say that's true or false. I think for a lot of people, it's a case of does a room feel busy, perhaps with a smaller tile? In a small bathroom like this, either one works. Personally, I think a large format tile sometimes just feels a bit boring and without character. What I would do is use the same floor tile the whole way through the bathroom. Last step, you want to just add in a bit of warmth. So whether that's just a wooden bathroom mirror, just sort of softens some of those sort of hard edges. Throw in a stool, which just adds another material choice. To remind ourselves where we started.
Oh, it's a no from me.
So here we have it.
It's amazing what you've done. I thought the skylight was the only saving grace in that little room.
And I think we've done quite a good job with it. Made it sort of the center point of the room. We have suggested actually doing a sort of LED strip light. It's actually at night that then becomes your big light.
I also very much like the way you've made the lights look not like bathroom lights. Those could be in the bedroom or the living room, those lights.
Yeah, and it goes quite a long way to making sure this room feels sort of a little bit more layered and lived in.
The answer is obviously yes, you can make a bathroom out of that awkward space.
This is our room, and the main issue is, as you can see here, the bed is too wide for the wall. You can see it goes out here and here, and it just makes it look like it doesn't fit inside the room, and it makes the room look a bit smaller.
This lady obviously just needs a breast enlargement.
That is what I was going to say first. First things first, breast enlargement. Not an uncommon problem, that actually.
Perfectly common in London, in the Victorian terraces.
Exactly. Sometimes it's so easy to look at a room and go, oh, the easiest thing to do is just rip it all out and start again. But budget's a real thing. I think sometimes it's amazing what some well-considered furniture and the sort of like cosmetic element can actually do to transform a room.
So what are we going to do?
To solve the problem in its easiest way, I would say enlarge the chimney breast. But this is definitely one of those problems where I think there's a few simple tricks that you can do. So you've got a chimney breast, which is slightly smaller and asymmetrical, so you don't really have a true center point, and maybe things are feeling a bit lopsided. You've also then got headboard itself, which is just enormous, and it's the biggest thing in this room. immediately what I'm looking at is your side tables are not big enough. And you've got these small little dinky lamps, which just means everything feels quite sort of low. You know, I use the example of like a thick neck and shoulders. You know, the headboard in the bed is your head and shoulders, or your head and neck, thick. If you've got little like sad, droopy shoulders, it all just feels a bit like wishy-washy.
Okay.
What we need to do is bulk out the shoulders, add some shoulder pads on there. Let's get rid of everything else in the room.
It doesn't look nearly as bad now. You've
There you
removed
go.
everything.
So the first step, bigger bedside tables. I think your bedside tables should always take up about sort of 80 to 90% of the available space. So if you've got a niche next to the bed, find something that can fill up that gap.
And how tall do you think they should be?
I would always try and get a bedside table to sit at least at the height of the mattress, if not a little bit higher. I would definitely add some bigger bedside lamps on there.
So the headboard immediately feels more comfortable on the eye.
Yeah, it almost takes away from the focus of that headboard. Another trick is by having a rug under the bed. So the next thing we want to do is try and force some of that symmetry. If the chimney breast is off center to the room, I wouldn't then put something on the center of the headboard. What I would do in those alcoves is focus on the left and the right and do a matching set of art. So when you walk into the room, you're sort of looking at two symmetrical sides.
Are you fooling
Into the-
us into thinking
It
that
is,
the breast is
it is
central?
all about fooling and tricking your eye into not noticing that detail.
When you go back to the first one, her chimney breast, it's making the room look ungainly. Then, you're almost, instead of tinkering with the room, you've tinkered with the way we see the room.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an amazing transformation.
The core problem may not be solved for entirely. Just these little extra additions just make the problem not seem so big anymore.
Yes, it's very clever.
Yeah. And sometimes that's the easiest way of doing it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you think this was a cheap job?
absolutely.
I mean, it's lovely to know that sometimes it's a cheap fix
Yeah.
rather than a whole
Yeah.
project. Thank you so much, Christian, for coming in and dealing with our awkward spaces.
Absolute pleasure. It's been fun.
It's been lovely to understand how interior design can make you feel more comfortable and happy in a space.
And that's what it's all about, to be honest. It's not just fluff and cushions, and there's real problems to solve and real awkwardness to deal with.
Have you got any interior design problems you'd like us to solve? If you have, please email in to the email address in the description box. And don't forget to subscribe to the Times Life and Style YouTube channel. Did I say that awkwardly? One more
You can
time.
AI the end of that
Please
sentence.
do. AI me entirely.
Yeah.